So sorry, but I'm not taking off my glass.
Lockyer takes a shot. It's low. He's got it. I think he's got it.
Merlin, are you going to speak?
But for me, it was a winner. David.
Well, I'm afraid it wasn't for me, Margaret.
Thank God you're here. Grandma's been raped.
On. Welcome back to On the Air Tonight, the only free-to-air podcast that's used to review free-to-air content. It's still free to the airwaves, but now we talk about whatever it is we would like to talk about. Mm-hmm. And for this week's edition, I'm Tom.
Sporting it's quite a strange elitist accent right there.
No one knows where these things come from, Jacob.
Yes, I am Jacob. Thank you for introducing me, good sir.
That's Jacob over there.
Are we going to have these obnoxious voices for the entire episode?
This is an hour long. Sometimes it's fun to just muck around a bit, Jacob.
Yeah, just get a little bit silly buggers.
When there's a monocle vibe in the room, you run with it.
We were doing that at work this afternoon. I can't remember. I think we were talking about, one of the girls at work's a mad Ed Sheeran fan.
Oh, God.
And we were talking about...
So she's mentally ill.
I mean...
Nah, he's fine.
So you're calling the vast majority of the world mentally ill? Because I think he's the biggest musician on the planet.
Yeah, he's fine. I got not a whole lot against Ed. It's just me being a contrarian, really.
Yeah, sure. Just going against the mainstream grain.
Yeah.
Hipster Tom.
Yeah.
We were talking about that, this competition that B105 is running, Ed to London, which when I first heard the pun, I was like, Ed to London. I don't get it. They're like, Ed to London. I was like, oh, as in a head. They're like, yeah. I was like, it's not that, like, I said it. I was like, I don't think that's that good of a pun. That's just, and then Nick.
This national tactic is bad.
And sure enough, I was sitting right near the B105. Like, I'm lucky enough to sit near there, like one of the main content creators.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I was in the room when we started brainstorming that. And I agree. It's a shit name. I was like, well, if the guy from B105 is saying it, then it's...
Yeah.
You can probably come up with a better name, but...
Did you find out what the other options were on the shortlist?
No, I think they were just like, we're struggling to find an Ed pun.
You'll be Sheeran in London. Like cheering.
Sheeran in London, or she ran to Wembley Stadium.
Yeah. It's all bad stuff. It's all awful stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, we were just having... Back to our, the initial point, we were just having fun, just going... All right, we're just going to see little Ed Sheeran just bop it off the lorry out down in Wembley Stadium.
Yeah. Nothing.
Getting as offensive as possible with our Brit accents. Because, I mean, if a Brit or a Pommy wants to get offended by that, I just feel like saying, mate, we come from the same place.
Yeah.
I may not be purebred, I might be a mongrel, but mate.
My skin's as pale as yours, pal.
Our ancestors both stole loaves of bread from the Queen. We know it.
Yeah, we both suckle off the Queen's teat. She's on our coins.
She's on our coins.
I think their Queen being on our currency gives us the right to make fun of their accents.
Sure, we're part of the Commonwealth, so it's all fun and games.
Yeah, and vice versa. If they want to do a rinky-dinky didgeridoo Aussie accent, then fucking go for it.
Yeah, if you want to call us a bunch of sunburnt convicts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fuck dogs.
Is dog fucking part of the Australian...
I think when
stereotype?
They reckon shag and sheeps is part of the New Zealand one, but I think that's
an established one, It's because they have a lot of sheep. I don't know if people look at Australia and go, oh, yeah, they fuck dogs over there.
Australia's got more sheep.
I know, but that's not... Is that actually true?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
look,
dodged that, didn't we?
Compare the size of our country, both in geography and in population. We definitely have more sheep.
Maybe per capita, New Zealand have more sheep. Because technically, China would have more sheep than New Zealand.
Yeah.
Or Australia.
What do you think they're doing over there?
Yeah. Where any place that has a lot of one animal, they're fucking them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I heard that, India has a lot of cows. They say they worship them.
Worship in their own way.
Is this now racist?
Yeah, possibly. I think that's probably where it's like, well, you were talking about someone's religion now.
Yeah, you've gotten outside of the Commonwealth. Now it's racist.
Yeah. Let's stick to making fun of Christianity and the crusade and colonization.
Colonization. Well, we have so much. What can you really call us that will offend us?
The Aussies.
Yeah, Aussies, English, we have it so good. I don't think we can get offended by much.
As a white Aussie, white male Aussie, it's pretty hard to, you got to be pretty thin-skinned to get offended at any point.
Louis C.K. has an old bit where he's like, I'm a white heterosexual male. What can you say that will offend me? He's like, what are you going to call me, cracker? Oh, that takes me back to owning land and people.
Yeah. Yep. Not wrong.
Bulletproof, baby. Yeah.
Well, how are you this week, Tom?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
You supremacist pig. Elitist.
Thanks for checking in. I'm good. I had a
good weekend.
I had a good weekend. I cooked some dinnerly.
Hey.
Yeah.
Was that by yourself?
Yeah, might have had a bit of help.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Housemate or?
A mate.
Okay.
Don't live with them, no.
Oh, okay. So it was someone you developed a relationship with recently that came over and cooked dinner and broke bread with you?
Jacob, are you prying into my private love life on a public podcast? I'm
simply being engaged.
Interesting.
I'm engaged in you potentially becoming engaged. No, I'm in the kitchen.
Hey. I'm asking you all the questions that I've already asked you off air.
So you made
and know the answer to just for the spuds.
Just putting you in a little bit, not a whole lot of hot water, just a little bit of tepid puddle, okay?
Yeah, but I appreciated when you did that the other day. We were at work, and Jacob knows the ins and outs of my romantic. You could call my love life romantic, I guess. My love life,
as much as anyone does, because you keep your cards pretty close to your chest, which is your more power to you.
I don't know if I keep them close to my chest. I feel like I'm a pretty fucking open book. Apart from on the podcast,
Sure, yep.
Like I would say that my life is more or less on show for as a punchline to the internet.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm okay with that.
No setup, just punchline.
Just punchline. Your life's a setup, mine's a punchline.
Don't bring me into this.
You're the setup to my punchline.
Oh, I'll take that. That's sweet.
But we were at work the other day, and like I said, Jacob knows the ins and outs of what's going on. And we were chatting about it before we went into the kitchen when it was just the two of us. And then as we got into the kitchen, the conversation continued a little bit more, and then I don't want to say an outsider, but an acquaintance that we work with, someone who I'm not on the close list, on the proximity level emotionally.
It's a colleague. It's not a workmate. It's
a colleague.
Or a friend. It's just a colleague.
Not a workmate. And she kind of heard what was going on. She's like, oh, what's going on here? Is this someone in a bit of a situationship? Is it a relationship? And Jacob saw me getting a little bit hot under the collar.
Sheepish.
Sheepish. I don't really want to tell you because I don't know you that well from a bar of soap. And then Jacob chimed in and he was like, he's shy, leave him alone. And that may sound condescending. And it was.
But it came from a place of love.
So I appreciate you sticking up for me.
I think we've used that line on each other before. When we can see each other in a conversation we don't want to be talking about.
Yeah. We bail each other out. Yeah. Don't ask Jacob about that. He's very coy.
Leave him alone.
Leave him alone. He's struggling. He only tells me about those
so
things.
So it turns out you can get under a white male's skin.
Oh, you can get under there. Don't worry.
Talk about anything that they don't want to talk about.
Yeah, anything that has emotions or feelings attached to it. New.
Vultures. You're vulnerable vultures.
Vulnerability vultures.
Yeah, VVs.
Stop sucking on my vulnerability, preying on it. Yeah, there's some people who you don't tell those things to. There was another instance at work where I can't claim that I'm that much of a private closed book because if someone asks me something at work, like they'll know about it. If I even going through like a breakup or something, like I make it pretty well known. I wouldn't say that I project it to the world, but if someone asks me, I'm like, yeah, this is happening. So I was talking to a few people in my team who I consider friends and are close to. And one of them I was having a conversation with and the boss overheard and he was like, oh, Tom, and the boss, we have a bantery relationship and he's like, have you found a little bit of a
just a bow to put your tie on.
Yeah,
if that's a saying, I don't think it is, but we'll roll with it.
You found someone to help you tie your ties in the morning, Chief, even though you don't wear one. I'd love you to find someone who ties your ties so you don't come into work looking like a homeless person. Maybe you get some more sales.
You found an electrical socket for your power tool, mate.
Okay. I like what you're doing there, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And spilt the beans a little bit with him. I was like, yeah, something might be happening. Something's going on. Again, in private, the whole team wasn't there. And then the next fucking morning in a sales meeting with people in extended teams, our whole team, a room full of maybe 15 people, I'd say maybe 3 of them I would tell this information to in confidence. The boss just goes to the whole room. And good news stories this week. Tom's found himself a nice little friend to call his own. And I was like, thank you very fucking much, boss. I'm going straight to HR.
It's probably the thing that does my head in the most.
You would have hated it.
When someone shares something that like
wasn't theirs to share.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, and it goes back, I think, to like adolescence when your parents are proud of you and talking about like, oh, Tom's got his first girlfriend.
Yeah.
Or like, or whatever.
It's the shut up, mom.
Yeah.
In all of us.
Exactly.
That we all still have.
Exactly right. So yeah. At the end of the day, not his position to share it.
No.
And all that does is deter you from ever sharing anything again.
Absolutely. It's interesting because as he does it, I know that he's not trying to be vindictive and trying to...
he's razzing you.
He's razzing me.
So why are you razzing me?
He's not trying to air my clean laundry because it's not dirty.
He's razzing you. He's not spazzing you.
He's razzing me. He's not spazzing me.
Okay.
And I know, some people... How do I say it? I would say that my personal life is a punchline to the entire team. He was like, how do I zhuzh up the room this morning? How do I put a good vibe into this meeting? Who's someone that we can all laugh with and or at? Tom's love life. There you go. And everyone goes, is the way to deal with it going to HR afterwards or talking to him directly, pulling him aside professionally and saying, hey, James, I'm all for fun and games and having a laugh at work, but that made me a little bit uncomfortable this morning. I would like to draw the line there.
Yep. Straight away, you're perceived as a bitch.
Would that have been the best approach or is the better approach just to bitch about it on your podcast that you do every week?
I mean...
And hope he doesn't hear it.
Well, look, who cares? Because he's not going to reply. He's not going to give a retort on the podcast.
No, you're not coming on, bruh.
No,
this is my turf.
So,
and we're fine. We're talking about airing dirty laundry. I know plenty of stuff about you.
Do you hear that? You hear that? That's someone arguing back. Oh, I can make a statement and no one can argue with me.
Interesting.
Now, do I have to deal with the repercussions at some point because all of my content is now online forever? Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Do I care? Kind of.
A little bit.
Is it going to stop me? Hell no.
No. My platform, my rules. Our platform, our rules. It's Jake and Tom, not Jake, Tom, and James.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've just doxed him. Nice.
Yeah.
You kept it a mystery for so long until you're like, no, I need to say his name.
So clearly I'm over it and it didn't affect me that much.
Totally. So yeah, Dinnerly was good then.
So Dinnerly was good. Roast pumpkin ravioli was fucking
mad
on. The only thing that is happening with cooking these Dinnerly meals is that almost all of them have cheese in them. So the person that I'm seeing is a vegetarian, not a vegan. Helpful that they are a vegetarian, not a vegan. But it's making me eat a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
I'm a cheesy boy. And
look, you're pretty good with it majority of the time.
As in eating wise?
Yeah.
As in food
like
wise?
with your veganism or sticking to a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
You can compromise and have a little dash of tasty cheese on your burrito every now and again, mate.
Thank you.
You've
Jacob.
earned that.
Well, what do they say? What does Aaron Murray say? Not to dox again, but it's not one person doing it perfectly. It's a million people doing it imperfectly. That's what makes the difference when we talk about veganism.
Okay. All right.
Am I making sense?
Yeah. No. Yeah. You're going to get more. There's going to be more done as far as reducing the carbon emission and animal rights and whatever the case may be, all the arguments of veganism, having a million people do it 90% of the time than one person doing it 100% of the time.
Absolutely. It's unrealistic to expect someone to do it 100% of the time. If I go out for dinner, I'm not checking if I go and buy a bag of chips, I'm not reading the dietary information, the ingredients list. And if there's a little bit of chicken stock in there, I'm going, I'm not going to have Red Rock Deli honey soy chicken.
I do love hearing that, and I've been a culprit of it in the past when you hear like someone confronting a vegan or going, "Oh, are you having chicken on that? You having chicken nuggets?" Like you probably get it all the time where it's like, "Oh, a bit naughty there." And it's like, okay, what the fuck have you eaten this week that's helped with the situation?
And then their argument would be, well, I don't claim to be vegan.
Okay, then don't talk about it.
Yeah. Don't fucking... Yeah, it is one of the most frustrating things. When you slip up, the most common slip up is when you're drunk and you're at a place that has pizza and then there's no vegetarian pizza, there's usually no vegan pizza.
Nope.
And I go, okay, so I'm drunk.
No one wants that trash synthetic cheese, faux cheese.
And fair enough. That's what I order if I'm on my own. But if I'm in a situation where I don't have control of the food, I'm going to eat still.
Yeah, of course.
Don't get at me for eating a chicken nugget or a slice of pepperoni pizza because there's nothing else.
If you are on a desert island and you've been starving for days on days and you have like a Tom Hanks Castaway situation where suddenly boxes start arriving on the beaches and they're all Domino's pepperoni pizzas with extra cheese. No one's going to comment on you eating a pizza then out of survival.
And that's pretty much where I am when I'm at a mate's house at the 11th hour and someone orders pizza. It may as well be a desert island. I have no control.
Yeah. Imagine making comments on like someone of like the Muslim faith, if they like a male who wears a turban every day. One day they don't say, "Oh, not wearing your turban.
Did you skip prayers this morning as well, Chief?
Hey, what's going on? Did you praise Allah?"
It's
You're
slipping up.
Okay. Do you have are you Muslim?
Yeah.
Oh no. Then why the fuck are you commenting on it?
What's you dogging this for?
So why are you razzing me?
Why you razzing me?
I would love to hear that conversation. A Muslim going, "So why are you razzing me, mate?"
Oh, you razzing me? That's always like if you see a vegan debate online, the meat eater always says to the vegan, well, what would you do? What if you're on a desert island and there were only pigs there? What would you die or would you eat?
Yeah.
And the answer is always, yeah, I'd eat the fucking pig. Guess what? I'm not on a desert island.
Exactly.
There's coals downstairs and I can choose to eat vegan food. People put outrageous situational boundaries up and go, well, what would you still be vegan if you were here? It's like, yeah, well, I'm not there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not there.
Yeah. Beggars can't be choosers.
Beggars can't be choosers. Beggars
Not calling you a beggar, but
Thank you.
if you're in a situation where you don't have a choice, you still got to eat.
Yeah.
I saw speaking of veganism, because I'm off socials, the only real social media that I get. I watch YouTube, but like I'll have a scroll through Reddit. Yeah. And one of the subreddits that I'm a part of is r/I'm a total piece of shit.
Yeah.
And it's basically just videos of people just being fuckwits for any number of reasons, whether it's cutting off someone in a lane or like, merging traffic or someone stealing candy from a baby. The one that I saw during the week was this guy this self-perceived Chad, guy in like a tank top that says, I think it says plants are murder or some dumb like anti-vegan statement to like try and antagonize vegans.
Yeah,
and
fuck all vegans.
And he's at like a plant-based rally or a vegan rally, and he's eating raw meat. Like he's eating a big piece of like it just looks rank. Like I don't know if it's ground beef or if it's steak, but he's just like it's falling out of it through his fingers, and he's like looking around, like trying to see if he's like antagonizing everyone. Vegans, like people walking around him, completely ignoring him. The person who clearly looks the most uncomfortable with the situation is the guy trying to instigate the joke.
Yeah. That always happens. At all those vegan rallies, someone shows up and eats KFC.
Oh, we're gonna make these vegans cry.
Yeah, and sometimes you get a beta fucking vegan who like takes him on and gives them the reaction they want. And it's like, bro, just let him. This is his protest. He's allowed to have his thing. Like that's the thing about veganism. As long as you don't fucking tell everyone that they have to live life like you, they can show up and express their opinion as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Which is, I want to eat chicken. Go for it, pal.
Yeah. And I suppose that's the argument for veganism, or like the vision is that we're not here to try and be 100% eating lettuce and tomatoes for every meal, every day. Veganism is about being conscientious of health, of carbon emissions, animal rights, all these sorts of things. Same with like feminism. It's not just about being nice to females. It's about equality. It's about giving everyone the same foot holding and whatnot.
Yeah. Absolutely, Jacob. Yeah, I think you've nailed that on the head. So ravioli was delicious. It wasn't ravioli. It was a risotto. Thank you.
It was pumpkin risotto.
Pumpkin risotto. That was really nice.
I was there.
Yeah.
What twist? I was actually the romantic
significant other.
I was the squeeze
that got outed in the sales meeting was Jacob.
I'm the one putting 2 kilos of Parmesan cheese into.
Yeah. I don't know how they didn't guess it earlier. We spend every second together inside and outside of work.
100%.
Tom's found a friend to spend the night with. Well, it's Jacob.
We usually spend most time together. We were going to try and rendezvous on Saturday, but that didn't end up happening. There was a festival at the Triffid.
Yeah. Didn't happen though. Jacob tried to drag me down there. I had my own drinks thing going on. I was keen to get down there, but it just didn't align. But how was that? How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was good fun. The band known as Ash Groove played at Greaser Bar, played some new tracks. Fantastic show. The boys will be bringing out something exciting in the coming period in time. I'm not going to put a timeline on it, but watch this space.
Soon.
Watch this space. Keep and hold your breath. That's all I can say. Not don't hold your breath. Hold it.
Is that a little wink to a song title?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought you were being very sly.
That's just me being a dickhead.
It's not called Breathless.
No, I wish.
They sounded good though. I got down to Greaser on Thursday night.
They were
boys
good
sounded
fun.
Great.
Fantastic turnout. I saw some people that I hadn't seen in years. And then I had good friend of the co-host and fan of the show, Daniel Burns, aka Biddy, in town. He's a man who moved to Melbourne about a year ago, came up to visit his friends, had a merry old time with him on Saturday. We went to the Triffid, saw some gigs, went to the Waterloo for some food, and then went back to one of our mates' place for some debauchery afterwards. Sunday rolls around. He's got to fly out at about 6:30 in the evening. We have a game of indoor soccer at 3:30. Dan used to be on our team. He wants to play again, just like old times. Who can blame the man? He wants to have a little run around, a little kick around, slot a few monsters.
He's in Brisbane.
Yeah, get some techers out, get the skills to pay the bills, all that sort of stuff. And Sunday League, you'd think Sunday indoor soccer should be pretty casual. You'd think so.
You'd think so, Jacob. You wouldn't expect titanium, Valkyrian efforts.
No, or anything close to contact.
No, not even. It's a contactless sport.
It's meant to be.
It's not football.
It's meant to be contactless. Poor old Dan copped the bad end of someone's shoulder to the nose and ended up breaking it. Poor guy. And we didn't realize at first. Like he looked like from a distance. He just looked like he got knocked. And he fell over straight away. And I was like, oh god, Biddy's concussed. And then he just started pissing blood. I was like, okay, something's wrong. Something's wrong here. And then he looked up at me and he's like, is my nose broken? And his nose, the bridge of his nose looked a little bit like a hairpin turn in Grand Prix. It was just a big curve in it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the heart to tell him, that's fucked. Like, your nose is broken. I was
Your mate turns to you, how do I look? Am I okay?
I was like, oh, you look like a young Michael Jackson. I love little Michael. No, I said to him, I gave him a look that basically, it was kind of, if you hear the sound, you can picture the face that I'm making along with that. And I just went, I don't know. I don't really remember what your face looked like before this because it's currently covered in blood.
Your nose was always in 8 different directions, wasn't it?
And I was like, does it hurt to touch? And he was like, oh, not down here, touching the tip of his nose and then touching the bridge. He's like, really fucking hurts up here though. I was like, yeah, you might need to go to hospital, man. Sure enough, broken nose. Doctor said he was fine to fly, which I found quite surprising.
Okay.
So he flew home with a broken nose that evening. And he's back in the rat race now today.
You didn't snap it back into place?
No, I mean, in that moment, it didn't dawn on me until someone made a longest yard quote. I was like, oh yeah, you could push that like back into place. And I was like, I'm not medically qualified to that. I don't want to suffocate my friend by re-breaking his nose and him not being able to breathe.
He broke my nose. I think that's the longest yard quote.
It is. Yeah. So yeah, you look like a young, quite refined, like a young Michael Jackson.
I love little Michael.
I love little Michael.
That's so good.
I think he did it on purpose.
I think he did it on purpose.
No. Yeah.
Is that Michael Clark Duncan?
Is it
Michael Duncan Clark?
I think it is Michael Clark Duncan.
The Green Mile, the black guy from the Green Mile.
Pretty sure it is because I feel like what did that come out like 2009? And I think Michael Clark Duncan died in like 2013 or 14.
He was definitely alive.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean it was him.
No, yeah, no.
The chances are,
I get that. I'm
more likely.
Oh no, it wasn't Michael Clark Duncan.
It wasn't?
No, it wasn't. Jesus, we're racist.
Yeah. Okay.
It definitely wasn't Michael Clark Duncan.
I had a feeling it wasn't because I can't see him playing like the simpleton.
He broke through my nose. Seen the Green Mile?
True. He literally,
yeah.
Good point.
That's his like most
iconic role.
Most iconic role. Yep. But yeah, that was my weekend.
Poor Biddy, hey.
Poor bugger.
He's all right.
Yeah.
It sounds like a fantastic weekend.
It was. Would have loved to have seen you, mate, but I completely get duty calls when you're having a yarn with your mates. We've all been there before. We've all been there when you kind of want to be in two places at once, but you can't. So what's the next best thing when you can't be in two places at once? You write a lovely review.
That's the next best thing. Mm-hmm. If you can only be in one place at once, Jacob, I reckon you leave a review.
Flick us a fucking email.
Like Part Australian, Part Chinese has this week.
Like Part Australian, Part Chinese has.
If you're a long-time listener of the show, you might be thinking, okay, format switching up even further. We normally do reviews at the end of the show.
Oh, well, I mean, we've done them midway,
True.
at the end.
Yeah.
Done them off recording.
We've not pressed record and then read them, not uploaded it. So this week we're reading it at this part of the show. Part Australian, Part Chinese writes, episode 64, Bruvs on the Spectrum, is a welcome addition to the portfolio for the lads. Stories of their weekends followed by Love on the Spectrum USA. It's all good. Tom's interactions with security guards can be blamed on me. It's in the genes.
Papka's a bit of a back against the wall fighter as well.
I'd say anti-establishment runs right through the Farrellys.
Despite all the rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage.
Yeah. You did say it last week. You said the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. In more ways than one.
You are your father's keeper.
Yeah. I really like the Australian Love on the Spectrum, so I'll watch the American version with interest. On a side note, these shows like Spectrum and The Biggest Loser can show how TV can be great, Spectrum, and truly awful, Biggest Loser. Stopped watching The Biggest Loser when they started bribing them with Snickers bars to get immunity from eviction.
Did that happen?
Yeah, bro. They went, you'll get immunity this week if you eat this Snickers bar. Is that not waving a crack pipe in front of a junkie?
Is that not
who's trying to be good?
Yeah, some form. Not saying it's anything close to torture, but I'd say it's inhumane.
Yeah,
I'd say welcoming someone onto the show to try and better them and get them to lose weight, and then dangling and going, "All right, fat boy, you're gonna run for the Snickers, are you?
You Snickers?" And then they're like, they have the calorie count on it as well. They're like, of the Snickers bar.
What's it, about like 300 calories?
Whatever it has in there. And then they're like, all right, I'll have to do this many more push-ups if I eat it and to save myself from eviction. It's like, it was truly a game show, not a weight loss show.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
Because they're addicted to sugar. And it's ruined their lives. They've got a life-ruining addiction.
Yeah.
And they're like, eat this deep-fried Mars bar.
I mean, for majority of people, for you to get to that point of overweight,
yeah,
it's because you A, have an unhealthy relationship with food, but B, use it as a coping mechanism for other issues in your life.
100%.
So mocking them by going, eat this Twix, you fat prick.
But then in the next breath, they're like, the key to weight loss isn't what you do in here. It's what you do afterwards. Here's healthy eating habits. Here's how to eat this. Here's how to eat that. Forget about the Snickers. You need to get over it. But here's a Snickers. Fucked up.
Yeah.
Stopped watching blah blah blah. We'll look back in shame in years to come. I think we already are. How we treated those fat contestants, but the show did make me feel better about myself. At least I'm not that fat. Okay, dude.
So it goes on and saying like, oh, this Biggest Loser's horrible for fat shaming, and then finishes by going, at least I'm not one of them.
Glad I'm not that guy.
On your Lance.
10 happy moldy security guards out of 10 for the show. Stay strong, boys. Very sweet.
Beautiful. Well written review. Thank
As
you, Pat.
always. Now we want to shine a bit of a light on a review from Christian Reese this week. You guys know him as the Californian correspondent.
The animal chin.
The animal chin. For any new listeners to the show, Christian Reese actually lives in California and tunes in every week and leaves a review of Your Humble Little Boys in Brisbane. You remember last week, Jacob, we spoke about love on the spectrum, and I provided the world's worst take on the show ever to be conceived.
It wasn't a bad take. I think it was just a different one.
It was a different take.
I disagreed with
Jacob
it.
disagreed, and that's fine. When this review came through this week from TAC, I read it out to Jacob, so we've both already read it, and we both just went, oh my God. I'll let you guys be the judge. I don't want to preface it too much, but tack, we hear ya. Boys, another banger episode. Glad to hear you got to cut a few rugs and have a good time over the week. Aussie music rocks. I'm a big fan of the Hoodoo Gurus and Split Ends from all the Jack McCoy surf films from the 80s I grew up on.
Wow, rock and roll, dude.
Yeah, I don't know Jack McCoy surf films. Do you?
No.
No, neither. I am familiar-ish with Hoodoo Gurus and Split Ends, but good on you, Tack. Love your taste. Get into Smith Street Band, as we said. Also, I was a bouncer in law school, and obviously I worked at a lame place because I only ever threw out one person for being too drunk. Most of the people I had to throw out were in the bathroom doing nose beers, and mainly my responsibilities were checking IDs and emptying the trash.
Just throwing out dickheads who are complaining of having a quote-unquote deviated septum.
Yeah. Why's your nose running, Chief? Time to take you out the trash.
Pretty sure deviated septum doesn't make white snot come out your nose, mate.
And then this is on a personal note, which I'm sure he doesn't mind us sharing with you guys. Finally, on a personal note, thank you for covering love on the spectrum. I'm a special needs dad. My oldest son is a non-verbal autistic 7-year-old. He uses an iPad that he can type into to talk. He is the most brilliant boy and is obsessive about surfing and very good at it. As a special needs dad, I find love on the spectrum to be an endearing way for neurodiverse people to be normalized in society and to show that despite their differences, they are people. Think of autism as sensory dyslexia, where your signals come in jumbled, and then imagine trying to be social and find love when you hear all sounds simultaneously, experience touch intensely, and smell things vibrantly. All to say, people with autism are literally amazing. People with autism are some of the hardest workers. As a dad of a young kid who goes to 30 hours of school and 30 hours of behavioral speech and physical therapy a week, it warms my heart to see that the work we ASD parents put into our kids pays off in the form of well-adjusted, funny, and polite adults. I give the show 10 out of 10 big thank yous from Animal Chin. Would recommend. And then he's attached a little photo of his son surfing. And he said, here's my boy surfing.
We'll put that in the YouTube clip if you are watching it.
Doesn't that just break your heart in the night or melt your heart?
It
melts your heart.
It brings a tear to the eye. Christian, thank you so much for leaving that. That's truly sweet. We truly do appreciate you sharing such a personal part of your life. It's wonderful to hear how rewarding you found it, and I'm having spoken to parents with children on the spectrum or neurodiverse, working with neurodiverse children and special needs children myself. I do know the challenges that can be brought in not living it firsthand, but living with someone that is on the spectrum. But also with challenges come also the highest peaks. You can find truly rewarding moments in life if you have someone on the spectrum in it.
Imagine how proud you'd be of your boy who goes to 30 hours of school like a normal kid. Well, is that more than not? No, that's about normal.
No, kids do 6 by 5. Yeah, I guess 30.
About 30 hours a week.
So he's doubling his school load.
So he's got a regular school week, and then he's got 30 hours of physical and speech therapy on top of it.
60 hours of having to try and stay focused.
For a 7-year-old.
For a 7-year-old on the spectrum.
It's wild. And they're like when you watch the show, they're way more talented than most of us in like autism is like you become hyper obsessed with something, and they could rattle off every winner of fucking Grand Prix for the last like 10 years if that's their thing. I'm sure.
Sure.
You know, like they have like, or like autistic kids can be really good at piano or whatever it is. Well, I have some autistic cousins as well, like super autistic cousins. They're older than me now, but they're more autistic than the ones on like Love on the Spectrum, where they have like the brains of children still.
Yep.
Where they're big boys now, so they need care.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't imagine what that's like, Christian. That sounds wild. We're learning more about you every week, but it sounds very sweet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hard but sweet.
And if you've gotten something out of anything that Christian has said, if you're someone who has someone on the spectrum in your life, or any sort of neurodiversity, take that in knowing that you're not alone. And yeah, I don't know what else I can say about it. It's I imagine it's a challenge being a parent of someone like that, but also you would find such rewards in it, which is all we saw in Love on the Spectrum. You saw the most, I think Michael, his mother, such a lovely, doting woman. You can just tell she's an angel, just pure in real life.
Yeah, their relationship was very heartwarming.
Absolutely.
I remember, just quickly.
Yeah, go.
In like when I was talking before about autistic people often having not special skills, but being exceptionally good at maths,
savants,
or piano or something like that.
Savants, yeah.
Savants. I remember Dad always got upset at films like there's a film called X plus Y, which is like this autistic kid is like amazing at math, or you know, sometimes you see those films where
Rain Man, or there's the one with Jeffrey Rush where he's a pianist.
Yeah, is he autistic in that?
I think he's maybe not, but
Shine, I think it's called.
Shine.
Yeah. But there's always
but
those.
Definitely Rain Man.
Definitely Rain Man. Those kinds of films where autistic people are depicted as almost their autism is like a superpower, or they can use it for good. Yes, it can be good to show, you know, Kanye's whole mantra is like, my bipolar is my superpower, you know, use it for good. Like, yes, that's positive to show, but it's very unrealistic as well.
Well, at the end of the day, it's a stereotype. You're hearing someone state something about themselves and then concocting all sorts of, you know, as I said, stereotypes and shoehorning them into an archetype.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
so like if you're like, I'm from the Gold Coast, it's like, yeah, okay. Tan guy from the Gold Coast, bet he knows how to surf.
Yeah.
That's a very benign metaphor.
Yeah. So you hear someone's autistic and you go, oh, but what's your thing that you're good at?
Yeah.
And a lot of them, probably most of them, don't have that. And then when they see those types of films, they feel shitty because they're just super autistic. I'm not saying this about your son, TAC. He sounds like he loves surfing and he's brilliant and he is super intelligent, but
well, it can be treated as a novelty.
Totally. And again, just pointing back to my cousins in New Zealand who are super autistic and definitely don't have like a skill that they have, or they're not going to be the best pianist. I think they like video games a lot. But it's like a false depiction of how autism really is. Sometimes people hear autistic and then they go, oh, it's like he must be a brilliant X, where a lot of the time they aren't, and that can then make the autistic kids who see those films actually go, where's my thing?
I think I think the biggest thing that you can take away from a show like Love on the Spectrum, or what Christian Reese wrote, or if you do have someone in your life on the spectrum, I think the biggest thing you can take away from it is that you should never place a label on someone or limit someone by going, oh, he's really good at this, or he'll never be able to find someone like, and even, you know, coddling people who are on the spectrum. I think the best thing that you could do is treat them like an equal, and that's easier said than done. Because like I worked in a summer camp with kids on the spectrum.
Talk about that. With just to preface, when Jacob read that review initially this week, he was like, God, that takes me back to the times when I worked in this summer camp. Yeah,
exactly. Worked for about 3 or 4 months in the US with at a camp that was for kids with special needs and disabilities, whatever sort of appropriate political term you want to call it, neurodiverse. And you'd meet a lot of kids that would constantly surprise you, and you'd meet a lot of kids that would make you laugh because they'd been told that their entire life, like, oh, you're autistic, you're on the spectrum. So like, one kid in particular would know how to use that to his advantage, and like,
Right.
so you'd be like, all right, we're all going canoeing today, and he'd be like, but I'm autistic, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, get in the fucking boat, mate. We're going for a ride today.
Yeah, your neurodiversity doesn't get you out of this one.
Exactly right. So, that's the piece of experience that I can give to someone is that treat them